Dark mystery still surrounds the sensational disappearance and spectral return of rags to riches theatre impresario Ambrose J. Small. The successful Canadian opera house magnate was not a popular man in his local community. Despite his rise to fame and fortune, he managed to alienate many people in his home state through his lifestyle of debauchery and big-time gambling of large sums of money. When he vanished in a fierce snowstorm on December 2, 1919, the public was more vaguely curious than concerned as to his whereabouts. Many claimed to have seen him in various spots around the world, but he was never located. Witnesses have vowed that his ghost returned to haunt the Grand Theatre in Ontario, one of the many impressive venues Small owned during his career. Small was born on January 11, 1863 in Bradford, Ontario, where at the age of 13 he began working as a dishwasher in Toronto's Warden Hotel. Showing natural aptitude, he progressed to managing the hotel bar and even keeping the accounts, building his positive reputation. As an extra job, Small worked as an usher at the Grand Theatre, where he eventually rose to the position of assistant manager. He had always had a passion for theatre, and when he received the promotion at the Grand Theatre, he routinely booked performances like Bertha, The Sewing Machine Girl, and In Convict Stripes. Over the years, Small started to reap the financial rewards of success, buying up shares in small theatres around Toronto with the ultimate goal of owning the city's Grand Opera House. Small made several offers to purchase the venue, but all were rejected, and during his 30s, the man's reputation took a dark turn. Small became a gambling addict, betting on horse races and also risky business ventures. At one stage, he had a windfall of $10,000, although people suspected that he had somehow fixed the race. His public credibility dwindled as he began to look unethical to many of the local citizens. His romantic dalliances also attracted the ire of social gossips. While it was common knowledge that Small had a stable of mistresses in various locations, he shocked locals by marrying a rich heiress named Theresa Corman in around 1904. Theresa had inherited a brewery fortune, and Small was quick to use her financial support in buying up several theatres in rapid succession. His own riches grew exponentially, and he finally achieved his dream of purchasing the Grand Opera House. However, soon into their marriage, Small tired of the domestic lifestyle and began multiple liaisons with other women. He went so far as to install a private hidden room with its own entrance amongst his offices in the Grand Opera House. Complete with luxury furnishings and a stock bar, it enabled him to entertain an assembly line of chorus girls and actresses employed in his theatre. But his main purpose was as a secret office for settling gambling debts. By this time, Small had become a notoriously hated man in the community. He was a millionaire who openly declared his dislike for children, Catholics, and charitable causes. His gambling addiction also escalated with his avid reading of the New York Times to study issues around every racetrack in the United States. Small eventually employed a devious private secretary called John Doty to help him cover up his crooked dealings. Small also started negotiating the sale of his theatre chain to a company named Trans-Canada Theatres Limited. On December 2, 1919, the deal finally went through, and Small and his wife Theresa were paid the sum of $1 million up front, with the remaining $700,000 agreed to be paid to them over the coming years. That afternoon, Theresa deposited the settlement cheque in Dominion Bank. Meanwhile, Small informed his attorney, E.W.M. Flock, that he intended to retain John Doty as a private secretary and would even give him a raise. Flock reported seeing a jubilant Small later that day at about 5:30 p.m. He later realised for the last time. Soon after, Small ventured outside into a blistering snowstorm. He was making his way to the corner of Adelaide and Yonge Street to buy the New York Times at a newsstand run by a man named Ralph Savine. The papers were delivered every day by train, as Small was always the first customer to grab a copy. However, the bad weather had delayed the train and the bundles were late in arriving. Savine later told investigators that Small became infuriated and swore more than had ever heard him before. With that, Ambrose Small ploughed into the raging blizzard and was never seen again. Days passed before anyone reported Small missing. His wife later testified that for some time he'd been controlled by someone she described as a designing woman, while associates simply assumed that he was carousing with a mistress or on a bender. It took 2 weeks for the news to finally break, probably seeing evidence destroyed, but leading to one of the biggest manhunts in Canadian history. Teresa Small offered a $50,000 reward for the live retrieval of her husband, amidst witness statements claiming sightings of him until 7 p.m. that evening. Multiple reports and fake leads possibly wasted Good Plea's time, while national newspapers exploded in excitement over the case. Hysterical headlines made bizarre claims, such as Small's astral body being sighted, and Sherlock Holmes taking over the case. Rumours about Small's fate rippled out from the day of his disappearance. George Soucy, a publishing company engineer, vowed he had seen Small on December the 2nd being forced into a car by some men who then sped away. Another witness, caretaker Albert Elson, claimed to have seen 4 men burying something heavy in the frozen ground of a dump in Rosedale Ravine, just blocks from Small's mansion. A cleaning woman called Mary Quigley swore to police that a notice requesting prayers for the repose of the soul of Ambrose J. Small had been posted at St. Joseph's Convent, apparently several days prior to the news of the disappearance being made public. Police scoured the city, checking every business in Toronto and dredging Toronto Bay several times. The basements of Small's Glen Road mansion and the Grand Opera House were excavated in a frenzied search for remains. Coincidentally, but raising suspicions, Small's underpaid secretary John Doty had also vanished on the same day. Police uncovered that Doty had left his office that afternoon with Small's safety deposit box key, withdrawn $100,000 in negotiable victory bonds from Dominion Bank, and then done a runner. Doty was later located, charged with the bond theft, and served 6 years in prison. Although several other of Small's employees claimed Doty had planned Small's kidnapping, Doty was never implicated in Small's disappearance. By 1920, there were still no clues uncovered. Famed Sherlock Holmes author Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was approached by a reporter while visiting the United States that year, and was quoted as offering his talents to helping solve the fascinating mystery. However, neither he nor the police pursued the offer. For the next 3 years, sightings of Ambrose Small haunted the headlines of every newspaper. He was variously spotted in France with a mistress and holding a bottle of champagne in each hand, and then by renowned magician Harry Blackstone, who swore he had seen Small gambling in Mexico. A psychic even claimed that Small was buried in a Toronto City dump. Without substantiation of the late sightings, a Toronto court officially declared Small deceased in 1923. His will left most of his financial empire to Teresa and was upheld. She passed some 12 years later. While the mystery of Ambrose Small's disappearance remains unsolved, his spirit may still linger in the world. Barely a month after his disappearance, a night watchman at the new Grand Opera House, Small's favourite theatre, reported seeing a ghost there that looked just like him. His apparition has repeatedly been seen there countless times since then, by a number of people including cast, crew and patrons. He's usually seen on opening night in his favourite box seat, and even when he's invisible his seat is seen to move down when he arrives and up as he leaves. Phantom footsteps have been heard for years around the venue, and he is often spotted pacing the catwalks. His reputation as a womanizer lives on, as actresses will report hearing the name whispered in their ear, then feel someone fiddling with the hem of their dress. Actors have even sighted him floating above the audience during performances. A famous account was when comedian Beatrice Lilly claimed that Small's ghost beckoned to her during a performance in May 1927. Story goes that Lilly moved towards the ghost only for a prop chandelier to fall crashing to the stage dangerously close to her. Sightings escalated in the 1940s when Small's restless spirit was observed walking the stage after each opening night. In July 1956, actress Xiaomian King reported seeing a man standing at the base of the stairway to her dressing room. On being shown a photograph of Small, King identified him as the 50-something man with the handlebar moustache she had seen. Small's spiritual attachment to his favourite theatre persisted. In 1977, he was attributed with saving an irreplaceable artwork during an extensive restoration. A backhoe being used to demolish a wall stalled just in time to prevent the destruction of the venue's historic west wall arch mural. The two crucial bricks that kept the wall in place are on display to this day.